Hello, today we're going to be doing equations with the distributive property involved. So yesterday you learned how to solve two-step equations, and we did that for 2 days. And we know that we have to do the opposite of PEMDAS, and so normally we're taking care of addition and subtraction first, but we're actually going to take care of multiplication first because we have those pesky parentheses involved. So we can do one of two things. We can either simplify both sides of the equation or undo the number outside of the parentheses by using division. And then we can solve like a two-step equation and check our work. So I'm going to show you both ways to do it. The first way would be, I see the distributive property, and so I'm going to distribute. So I would have negative 8 times x and negative 8 times 3, negative 8x minus 24, and I cannot forget that I had this up there because now I'm solving equations. Then I'm going to drop my line down. My x, I see it's being multiplied, but it's also having something taken away from it. So I'm going to take care of the taking away part first. I'm going to add 24 to both sides. Remember, that cancels that out. So right now I have a negative 8x left. And over here I have 40 plus 24, which will give me 64. I would then divide by negative 8 and get that x equals negative 8. The second way I can do this is by looking at this and going, if you noticed in the first one you multiplied by negative 8, and then you had to come back at the end and divide by negative 8. And you're like, I wonder if there's an easier way to do this. Well, since this negative 8 is going to end up being multiplied times everything on this side of the line, I can start out by dividing by negative 8. Now remember, if I do something to one side, I have to do it to the other. Now I ended up doing this at the end of my problem down here. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking care of it at the beginning and getting rid of the parentheses a different way. Well, negative 8 divided by negative 8 gives me 1. All I have left over here is what is inside of these parentheses. And if it helps, you can bring it down inside the parentheses, then you're like, wait a minute, there's nothing happening on the outside of there, so now it's just x plus 3. You can think of it as still having a 1 there, but when I multiply everything times 1, when it's a positive 1, nothing changes to the inside. The signs stay the same, the numbers and variables stay the same. Then I have 40 divided by negative 8, which is going to give me negative 5. And now I have a one-step equation, and x equals negative 8. So I get negative 8 with both ways. But let's double check and make sure our answer is correct. So I have negative 8 times negative 8 plus 3 equals 40. Well, now I can go back to thinking I need to do what is inside my parentheses first. I could distribute and then do the addition. That would work as well, but I can just take care of what's inside my parentheses first. So I have negative 8 times negative 5, which gives me positive 40. And since I end up with both, and this is a true statement, I can say that my answer does check out. Now, which way was easier and why? That's going to be a personal opinion. For me, it's easier to look at it and make fewer steps and just to go ahead and divide by negative 8 at the beginning. But for you, you might feel so comfortable with the distributive property that it might be easier for you just to go ahead and do the distributive property and then go ahead and solve the two-step equation how we've been solving them. So it's really a personal preference there. If you feel more comfortable with one way and you really understand one way and you only want to do one way, that's fine. Just know that the other way is there. So I'm going to show that again. I'm going to show both ways. So once again, I could start out and I could do the distributive property and get 3 times 2x and 3 times negative 5. Remember, don't forget that equals 21 there. Don't lose that. So I'm going to get 6x minus 15 equals 21. Drop my line, add 15 to both sides. Those 15s cancel out. Sorry, my hand's in the way there. I'm going to divide by 6, and x equals 6. On the other side, I'm going to start out, I'm going to go, multiplying everything times 3, so I'm going to divide everything by 3. Remember, that's like I have a 1 there. So I get 2x minus 5 equals 7 when I do that division problem over there. I'm going to add 5. The 5's cancel out. I divide by 2, and I get x equals 6. I can still go back over here and check. This time I'm going to want to take care of what's in the parentheses first. And I can see that indeed my answer must have been correct. Down here at the bottom, it says sometimes we just need to combine like terms before we simplify. So I'm like, I don't see any parentheses. I don't need to do any distributive property, but I do notice that I have some x's here and some x's here. So I have to think of 5x plus 3x, which is 8x. I still have my minus 2. And it's still all equal to 14. And now that looks like those two-step equations that we have been solving. And we think that x equals 2. So we go back up, and any place that I see an x, I need to make sure I go back every place I see an x. So instead of just one place where I think I see an x, I'm going to have to plug in my answer 2 different places. So I'm going to have 5 times 2 minus 2 plus 3 times 2 equals 14. So I've got to plug it into both places. Then I'm just going to go left to right here. I've got 8 plus 6 equals 14. And 14 does equal 14. That's a true statement. So my answer checks out. On the back, we have some word problems. So we have a family of 6 buys airline tickets online. Travel insurance costs $19 per ticket. The family is charged a total of $1,116. How much does one airline ticket cost if each airline ticket is the same price? So that means that I have a total. So I'm going to go ahead, and that's going to be what that equals. And it says it costs $19 per ticket for travel insurance. So I'm going to make X be the cost of one ticket. And this is one of those where it really helps me to define my variable there, that's saying that the X is going to be one ticket. So one ticket plus the $19 in insurance. And it's a family of 6. So that means whatever that happens there, I need 6 of those currently. Now, once again, I could start out and I could divide by 6. I could distribute the 6 and then divide by it at the end. You are allowed to use calculators here. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 6. We should get the same answer no matter which way you do it. And I get 186, so I'm going to subtract the 19 from both sides. And I get $167 per ticket. I'm going to go over here and check that. So I would say 6 times 167 plus 19 equals 1,116. And when I add these together in here, I should get let's try that again. And then I'm going to multiply that times 6. And I get 1,116 is equal to 1,116, which is a true statement. So I know I have the right answer. My next one says, Mrs. Beach bought 5 boxes of Cheerios, and she's got a little guy, so definitely happening. She bought 5 boxes of Cheerios on Monday and another 2 boxes on Tuesday. she spent $5.75 on ice cream. Altogether, she spent $25. How much should each box of Cheerios cost? So we're going to let our X equal the cost of one box of Cheerios. Now we notice back up here in the problem that she bought 5 boxes and then she bought another 2 boxes. So I'm going to have 5 times the price plus 2 times the price. It then tells us that she bought some ice cream. So we have to add that in to find that our total spent was $25. I can combine these like terms. I can subtract out the amount that I spent on ice cream. I can add those zeros. I'm going to get 1925. 25 minus 5 is 20, and then minus 20, 75 more cents, we get 1925. And then I'm going to divide that by 7. So this one did not involve the distributive property and involved those combining like terms. So each box of Cheerios cost $2.75. When I go back up here, I would need to substitute that in to each place that I saw the variable. And I'm just going to add up my amounts. And I do get that 25 equals 25, and it's a true statement. So we're good to go there. Next one's a geometry one. You know, that's my favorite. The perimeter of a rectangle is equal to, and I'm like, oh, rectangle, drawing a rectangle. I'm going to label it. It says that the perimeter is equal to twice the sum of its length and width. One rectangle, so in other words, perimeter, is equal to 2 times the width plus the length. So we can also write that as a distributive property problem. One rectangle has a length of 13 inches. All right, so 42 inches. So my perimeter is 42. So I'm going to put a 42 in right here. And I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Cancel those out, and I get 21. Is that hard to read there? Let's try that again. 21 equals W plus 13. I'm going to subtract 13 from both sides, and I get 8. So the width of my rectangle is 8. I can go back over here and check that. And I find that my answer is indeed correct. And down at the bottom, we're doing some error analysis. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to go through and look at the problems that these people did, and I want you to see if you can find a mistake. When you're finished, you can use this as a QR code reader. You probably already have one on your phone. You can also put it on your Chromebook, and you can use it. You'll shoot that. It'll tell you, hey, you got the problem right, or no, you got it wrong, and you'll be able to check yourself from there. Let me know if you have any questions.